Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books,
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, comics we want to read, and everything in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
Today, we're continuing our run through the Frank Miller Dark Knight universe. And I believe we said last time the name of this one is called The Dark Knight Returns, The Last Crusade. And it is a prequel. So, did you know that before?
No, I assumed The Last Crusade. I was like, oh, it's like a teaser to. But before he thought he was going to do, I guess, the Master Race. So I thought it was going to be like one last little Batman story. And then when I saw how it opened, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's a prequel.
Yeah, well, it's got Joker on the cover, so you're like, I thought Joker died in Dark Knight Returns, and also in Strikes Again for that matter.
Yeah,
but no, this is a prequel to The Dark Knight Returns, and I should say this is actually after Dark Knight Strikes Again, Frank Miller, I think the only thing he's done besides this was All-Star Batman and Robin. And I don't think that run's even finished. Him and Jim Lee were working on it, where Frank Miller wrote it, Jim Lee drew it, and then I think they only got to like issue. That was in like 2008 or something. They got to like issue 4, and then after like 4 years, and then I never heard about it again. So I don't even know if it continued with them later on or whatever. But I think this is like he's just kind of been working on this universe. And he got Brian Azzarello. Have you ever read Brian Azzarello's stuff?
no.
He did the Vertigo book, 100 Bullets. He also, what else has he done? He's done a couple Batman stories that are really good. He did. He wrote for Hellblazer, like a good run inside of that original 300 issues that he did. So yeah, he's a good writer. So I think Frank Miller's like, oh, I'm gonna kind of help. I'll pitch my ideas to him, and he'll maybe form them out a little bit more concisely. But yeah, and then he also did the Superman, or not Brian Azzarello, but Frank Miller also did Superman Year One. I can't remember if Azzarello wrote that one with him or not, but that might be one we got to do too. The Superman Year One. But yeah, he's a good writer. And then the artist on this was John Romita Jr. So he's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think he's mainly known. I'm trying to think of the run that I think he did Kick-Ass. I think he did not Punisher. He did Daredevil, maybe like a run of Daredevil. I'm trying to remember what he's on the most. His dad was a really popular artist too on comics. So he did the Eternals with Neil Gaiman. Oh, cool. Did a couple other big ones like that.
We were kind of saying before. I mean, and looking at it, I see why
they picked him.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely fits the style of Frank Miller comics. So
right, like you thought, oh, this is Frank Miller. He's back to basics kind of thing or whatever. And
yeah,
there's actually John Romita Jr. who draws a lot like Frank Miller, at least in the style of like you got a lot of square, angular faces,
square, bulky.
Bulky. But he's just super detailed, whereas Frank Miller seems to have gone opposite of detail, just like thick lines, big splashes of color, but not like not in detail, little pen drawings or anything in there. But yeah, so this one, the story of it is basically how like what occurred to make Batman retire in the first place. Going into Dark Knight, that he's retired for 10 years?
Yes, this is about 10 years before the Dark Knight.
Yeah. Returns. So, and we're assuming that this one, just based on where it ends, is pretty close to like the day after this ends, he retired. So, but we're not 100% sure on it. But
yeah, this one we were talking about before here. Like, this will be a fun little story. And when we finished it, we're both like, oh man, like we kind of wanted it to continue a little more. Like, it ends on a note that's like, it's not really cliffhanger because obviously we know where it goes and what happens next, but it's like, I kind of wanted just that little bit more.
Right. Yeah, like when it was like, and I turned the page and there's nothing left. I'm like, God damn it, because it leaves like you could turn the page and there'd be something else there because it doesn't end like the last page isn't like, oh yeah, that's the end of this comic. It just wanted you to keep going, and then you're like, oh shit, it's too late. It's done. So, so yeah, what the story we're kind of alluding to is, it is the death of Jason Todd that caused, as we know in Dark Knight Returns, that caused him to retire. So this is that. This is like what happened to Jason and what was happening to like Batman's body and psyche and everything as it was going on as well. Like as this story continues. So so the first thing that kind of happens in the book is you see the Joker's still alive like right away, and he's being brought back to like Arkham for some reason.
Yeah, he got caught somehow, and
he just keeps getting brought back. Like, hey, you, stop it, stop doing
get
that.
back in that cell.
Yeah. So he gets in, and he doesn't seem.
And they're and the cops are beating him up too.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem very concerned about any of it or anything. So, and then we saw how he got there, like how he got arrested in the first place, and we find out, you know, Batman and Robin took him on, but Robin mostly like started beating the shit out of him, and we see like how, I guess, violent Jason Todd was, and it seemed like at that point, Joker, that like this whole comic in the background, Joker had plotted this as revenge for how he got caught at the very beginning of this issue. So, so he got captured, and then we see like Bruce Wayne. In the morning, he wakes up and he's all like, my ribs.
Oh, I'm so sore.
Oh, man, I nenever used to feel like this.
Get over this shit.
Yeah. And he's like 40. Wait, he's 45 in this?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's like, oh, man, yeah, I really feel it now. It's so weird. And I can't believe, you know, I'm feeling it a lot more than I used to in these old bones. And then in the background, he's, you know, hearing about these like billionaires. One of them jumped off a bridge. Are they all billionaires, or are they all just like men of industry or something?
No, I think they're all like.
I think they're all billionaires.
Billionaires.
They're like really rich people.
Richie, yeah.
And it seems like we don't know why necessarily they're doing it. Like Bruce runs in to one of the widows of a guy that just jumped off recently, and she's like, yeah, and I don't like. She's like, I need money because like he left me with nothing.
Yeah,
like,
apparently he like spent all the money right before he died, like all of it. And yeah, so she's penniless.
Yeah, so he's, you know, they're like, oh, something's going on with these billionaires. I wonder what's happening, and you know, we get to see like Robin and Batman working together. Later that night, they go out again, and there's like the Joker gang robbing.
It was like a drugstore, I guess.
Yeah, it was just like a regular thing, and so it wasn't like a bank. It looked like an actual.
I think because I thought I saw an RX in the sign,
so it's like a CVS or
something like that.
So like, and that's weird. There is like a Joker gang in this. It's not like, or like the Joker boys or something. They all had Joker masks on.
Yeah.
And they were going. It wasn't quite like, and maybe this is kind of like the mutants.
Precursor.
Yeah, the precursor to the mutants is like where they start. All the bad guys started getting lackeys or whatever to go with them. But so Robin and Batman are chasing them, and they get in a car accident, right?
Yeah, they get into a car chase, and I like they both have motorcycles. I thought their motorcycles were kind of
yes. Cool. And Robin's is the red one, like
the
one from Batman and Robin, the best Batman movie ever. But yeah,
they're chasing him, and then I guess one of the cars, the bad guy's cars, flips and gets into an accident, and so they're like, yeah, we got him.
And then Robin.
Well, yeah, Batman's like Batman and Robin like going on, I guess, opposite sides of the car, and then Batman's like, we got to get him out because it's gonna explode, and then a bad guy pops out. He's like, well, it may, but I'm gonna kill you. And then Robin jumps in to save him. But Robin jumps in to save him and goes really.
He goes ham on this guy. Yeah. And we find out so this whole time, I guess, because we see this, because did Batman wake up with Selina Kyle yet or not?
No.
Okay, so later on, Batman's like, we find out that he is actually dating Selina Kyle, yep. And she's retired from being Catwoman. So they're having a conversation like, we need to, maybe you should retire, Bruce, and we could be together and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Jason's not ready. So this whole time he's like been trying to get Jason ready to kind of take over the mantle of Batman as good as he can. And he just doesn't see it. And this is an example of that, where when they caught the Joker guys, Robin just goes over and he smashes his head with a car door, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like he kills him, but I don't think Batman would let him kill him with a car door. So
no, but it's obvious. Like, and the one thing, like, I like Batman's inner monologue because he was like, he did that, but he was smiling,
right?
And it's like he realizes that like Jason's going that little extra. There's a little gleam in his eye that shouldn't be there when he's stopping back.
Right. There's an evil within him.
Something. Yeah.
And he's like Yoda or some shit where he's like, it's inside of him. Yeah. So, but we see this is what kind of made it look like to me, like they were saying, yeah, Jason Todd, that's what him being killed broke Batman, but also Jason Todd was a bit of a Dexter, like he was a bit of a, I like to hurt people and see people get fucked up, and I have no empathy for that. So yeah, it was like kind of, it wasn't weird. It was just like, okay, I get like why he feels bad about Jason, even though he knows Jason might have become one of these Joker guys or something, or he had it in him to be evil in some way at least. So the cool thing I liked about that kind of foreshadowed this too was to where you see, oh, he didn't just go like overboard, like by smashing the guy's head. We see back at the Batcave, Alfred and Batman are talking and Robin's not there, and Alfred's like Batman's like, he's missing something, and Alfred's like, yeah, he doesn't have empathy. I was just like, Jesus Christ, like they're really making him seem like he's what's that called, like whatever serial killers have.
I can't think of it, but yeah, it's that's something that's in most humans is there, just that little bit, it's not there.
Yeah, like compassion and love and whatever makes you not kill people. Yeah, so it seems like Jason Todd has a bit of that, and Alfred just straight up says like, yeah, empathy. He doesn't have human inside of him, and but it seems like Batman's like not willing to accept that 100%. He's like, no, I just think he needs more training. Like there is a fire in him, but it's just a fire. It's not like.
Yeah, because Batman's telling him, he's like, no, he's doing what I trained him to do, which is to take down the bad guy. And then Alfred's like, nah, but he's not. It's like in that empathy. Yeah, Batman's like, well, we just need to train more. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. And so that's that's basically Batman's like, okay, we'll just keep training until finally you'll be good.
He'll be ready.
And then but it's probably not gonna turn out well for, even if Jason didn't die. He might have just become like an evil Batman who kills people or some shit.
Yeah.
So, and then we see like in Arkham, Joker's still there, and it's funny. He's just been like talking kind of weird to people. Not like, it doesn't seem like he's like really going out of his way to like hypnotize them or some shit, but he's just able to get all these like normal patients at Arkham. I don't know why they keep him with normal patients at Arkham, but he's just hanging out and like, where they eat dinner and shit. And everybody's like buds with him, and you can see that they're like under his control. There's actually one guy that's in like the ICU unit over in Arkham, and he like ate his hand, and they're like, why did you eat your hand? And he's like, because Joker
said I was delicious.
Yeah, Joker said I should because I tasted good. And so like basically you're just seeing that Joker's kind of like taking control over all these people.
Yeah, he's manipulating them all somehow. And there was weird because there was like one part where it didn't seem like a riot, but there was definitely like some like commotion going on.
No, that was him like causing everybody to kind of be anxious, and then he got he gets the guards or the people to overthrow the guards.
Oh no, the first one, because there shows one scene before that, and like there's like a commotion, and Joker's like telling like a story or something in the middle, and then Joker like gets towards the end of the story, and he's like, and that's why, and so everybody stops and they're like, that's why what? And then Joker like leaves the room, whatever, and closes the door, and like doesn't finish the story. And they're like, what, Joker? Tell us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You just see like him getting more and more control.
He's obviously getting control. It was just it was interesting the way they
right
they portrayed it.
And it's funny because this is about two different people getting control. Joker having control over the people in the Arkham facility, and then you have Poison Ivy, getting control over. We haven't really talked about her, but we find Batman. They find out the only thing that's connecting all these billionaires that have killed themselves or done crazy shit. They all have this company on their books. Well, I can't remember the name of the company.
Green Vein.
Green Vein. Okay. So they, I wonder who it is. So Batman and Robin go there to, like, they find out where the address of this place is, and it's like some slum building. So it's not even like, it's some like broken down industrial abandoned complex or whatever.
This is cool scene too. Like, I like this because they go there and like they stop when like there's like little guards at the beginning, and then they try to stop them, and Bruce is obviously still hurting, and so Robin takes over kind of and throws a batarang, and instead of like him just hitting the gun out of his hand, he like throws it into his
he could have just hit the gun with the batarang, but because he's fucked up, he just throws it at the dude's arm, and it like goes. It just shows like it
looked like he was gonna rip it off.
Yeah, it looked like it almost cut off his arm, but it's probably just exaggeration on the art. But like that's what basically that's the guy who's got the gun to the woman's head. Right?
Yeah,
so that was one of the billionaires, and he had his wife, right? Okay. So he had a gun to his wife's head, and he was like, "I'll do it. I'll fucking do it." And he basically, he was being controlled by someone, and that's when they find out, oh, we got to go to Green Vein because this guy had a thing with, agreement or something on his books, as well did all the other people with Green Vein. So, so they go there. They find out that they're looking for Poison Ivy, but they find Killer Croc. And Killer Croc just beats the shit out of Batman. I was, he like grabs him. I like how they did this. They show Batman's getting old. So they're like, how they show that is like he gets there and he's like, gotta be quiet, but I can take on Killer Croc. Even with my, soreness from last night. And then he steps on a stick, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" Or like I don't know what it was, like a glass, glass or something. Yeah, he steps on it, and it makes a noise, and then he's like, "I could have surprised him and beat him, but now it's gonna be a little bit harder." Like, it just seems like Batman's lost his step a little bit as far as sneaking and how flexible and stuff he is and all that.
Yeah, his internal monologue is pretty great as far as like it's him, trying to stay one step ahead in his head, and then he keeps making little things. He's like, "Oh well, that's gonna be sword. Oh no, that happened. I have to readjust now."
And so we find out that Killer Croc is working with Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy, they're assuming, has been drugging these men, because in on all the comics and everything before, Poison Ivy, usually she kisses. I think even in Hush, we see that. From our first episode, we saw that like, oh, she can control even Superman with her lipstick or whatever, with her mind control lipstick. They have a big fight where like Batman and Killer Croc go at it, and Killer Croc just basically beats the shit out of Batman, and then Robin comes to help, and then the cops show up and basically scare Killer Croc away. So we see like, and he gets his ribs broken. Like, it's pretty bad. He's like, yeah, like, I don't even know if I can handle this for much longer, kind of thing. But Jason's not ready. So, and then we cut back to to Arkham, where Joker has got like everybody's freaking out, kind of in the cell, and the guards seem to be coming in. It's like the TV room or whatever where they're hanging out. And the guards come in and they're like, hey, everybody needs to settle down. And Joker just kind of like smiles at them and is like, have fun or whatever, and then they just like all the inmates attack all the guards, and so he's able to escape. He puts on some like normal clothes,
Yeah.
with a hat and a jacket, right, and like just walks out of the hospital, and he kind of meets up right away with his gang or whatever, and they're what did they do to get? He's just on the loose, right? He hasn't.
Yeah,
Done
he's just on the loose.
Yeah, so everybody here is like Joker's on the loose, and we like the whole time it seemed like Joker's just been like calmly. This is part of the plan. The plan was once I got captured, I need to get revenge on Robin for beating me up or whatever last time when I got captured at the beginning of this book. So I'm gonna calmly and slowly over the course of a couple weeks get control of all the minds of these dimwits in Arkham or whatever, and then I'll break out, and then I'll meet my Joker boys, and then we'll have Robin will come get me, and then I'll get my revenge. So after Jason and Bruce get back from getting beat up by Killer Croc, Batman and Alfred are talking, and Jason walked out of the room, but he still heard. But Batman said, like, I don't know if he's not ready yet, and I don't know if he'll ever be ready. And so Jason heard that and was like, man, fuck you. And so he looks over and he's got his red Robin bike, which I appreciated. And then he goes and rides over on his own to go capture the Joker.
Yeah. Oh, Batman says beforehand, because Robin's like, let's go get the Joker. He's out. And Batman's like, no. Let's rest tonight. We'll go tomorrow. And that's because Batman's fucking...
Oh, we should also say before this as well. They catch up like after, so Joker escapes. He's already got beat up by Killer Croc at this time. They find Selina and Killer Croc again.
Poison Ivy.
I'm sorry, Poison Ivy and Killer Croc again, and then that's when they actually find out that all the billionaires are just infatuated with her, not because of her lipstick.
Yeah, that's what they say. So they get there, and like there's a bunch of billionaires all there too, and they're all like bidding on Poison Ivy. And she says, when Batman and Robin like jump in and like, you got to stop this, and they're like, what did you do to these guys? And Batman asks, and Poison Ivy's like, well, I didn't do anything actually. I'm unattainable, and so they're all bidding on me because greed is the best weapon or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and
I don't know if she's lying, but.
Yeah, it seemed like I couldn't tell if she was actually lying, if she was just lying to Batman, or if all the guys are really that infatuated with her. I mean, she was very. She didn't look. Poison Ivy's always been like kind of the seductress or whatever a little bit. I mean, if you go by like Batman animated series, she's the one who got Harvey Dent all Twitter pated and everything, and like ready to do whatever for her in a couple episodes. So you see, like, she does have that ability, but so I don't know why
if
all
you
these
go with
guys
Batman and Robin, she just blows her little.
Oh Jesus! Yeah,
her dust or whatever, and then you take out your Bat card and never leave the Bat cave without it.
Yep, your Bat charge. But yeah, so that was before, like, that's pretty much right after Killer Croc broke his ribs. Then Batman meets up with Selina, and she's still like, you should retire, and he can't because Jason's not ready. Then the Joker breaks out. Then like the next night or whatever, they go out again, and that's where they find Poison Ivy and Croc.
And so Batman fights Croc again, and Robin's gonna stop all the billionaires, and they're just normal guys, right? Too, they're not.
Oh yeah.
They're not
because she says attack them, guys, or whatever. Yeah. And see, that's why I'm like, she's got to be lying because they're fighting Batman.
Yeah,
there's no way that normal people would fight Batman. In my mind, maybe I don't know. Maybe they really like.
If you're that infatuated,
if they're
I don't
smitten,
know.
They're so smitten.
But either way, so Jason's like, I'm gonna take care of these guys, and like again, they're normal people who don't have any like super fighting skills or anything. And Jason Todd
beats the fuck out of him.
Yeah, he's just.
We're talking like 45-year-old guys or whatever.
Yeah, he's just going overboard.
Yeah, and so that's also where you just see like he's doing this because he wants to hurt people, And it's funny. I never really read too much of the Jason Todd Batman run. I've pretty much only read Death in the Family with him. That's the one where he gets beat to death by the Joker in the real continuity. So, it was interesting to see them. I don't think he's nearly that, like psychotic kind of. In the original one. So I missed that part with the whole showdown with Joker. I mean, with Poison Ivy and Killer Croc the second time, and then they get back from that, and that's where Jason Todd hears Batman say he's not ready.
Yeah, well, so Jason Todd is hurting them, and that makes Batman distracted from his fight with Killer Croc, and Killer Croc almost hurts him, but then Jason Todd saves him.
Yeah.
But then Batman like falls on his face. This is a cool little part. Batman like falls on his face, and Jason Todd had like tied up Poison Ivy, so like he already caught her, and like they're going over to Batman like, okay, we got her, and then Batman's like, oh, good job, Robin, and falls on his face, and Poison Ivy is like, is he dead? And so Jason Todd freaks out for a second and goes to check on him, and then Poison Ivy like hits him.
Yeah, she gets a hold of him like she's gonna kill Robin.
Yeah, and then Batman like musters enough strength to like knock out Poison Ivy basically.
Yeah,
and then,
that was the only confusing set of panels, as I wasn't sure what he did to Poison Ivy. I wasn't sure if he choked her out or hit her to knock her out. I couldn't tell either way really, but
yeah. But Poison Ivy, and then he falls again too, and Jason's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then they are back at the Batcave.
Yeah, so they come home after defeating them, but
Batman is like done.
Yeah, and so that's why he's talking to Alfred in the cave, and Alfred's like, what are we going to do with Jason, Master Bruce, and then Master Bruce, and
what we do when we fall, Master Bruce,
we get ourselves up again. I don't know, or whatever the fuck the quote is. Why do we fall down, Mr. Bruce? Anyway, I love Michael Kamen. I mean, Michael.
Michael Caine.
Caine. That's what.
Yeah.
Not Kamen. Caine. Yeah. Anyway, so that's when you hear him say like, "Oh yeah, I don't think Jason's ready yet. You should have seen him. He was just beating the shit out of all the guys." And maybe he'll never be ready.
Jason's like, yeah, you think I'm ready? Yeah, screw you, man.
Yeah, screw you. I'm cool.
I'm going to take down the Joker myself. Yeah.
Yeah, so they go out. Not they, but Robin goes out to get Joker on his own. And he's chasing him down. And it's cool because you see Joker like in a separate room. And then you see Robin like, oh, there he is. I'm going to like go. I think he's at this place. I'm going to get him in there. But you don't actually know if Joker's anywhere near this area. You just know Joker's in a room somewhere. And he knows that this is going down. So you see Robin like kind of in the back alley that's all foggy as they are in those cities. And the Joker gang like comes up behind him and starts hitting him with pipes.
Yeah, it was a really cool series of panels. He's sneaking up to the door, and then it shows Joker. And then he gets up at the door and he like starts
trying to lockpick.
Yeah, lockpick it. And then you see two guys come out of the shadows, and they're like Joker gang. And then they start beating the shit out of him, and then the door opens.
Right.
And that is where the Joker
that's where the Joker was, but you weren't sure in context how much of this is the plan or whatever, And then
what did he say? He's like, "Oh, we're gonna have fun tonight."
Yeah.
Little boy or something.
Basically something like that, like, basically and then I turned the page and it's done. That was the last fucking panel, was him being like, "We're gonna have fun tonight, boys." And so you just assume based on Dark Knight that's the night he was beaten to death by the Joker and the Joker gang. And so it leaves you hanging. Like by that time you're like in, and then the next page is like, fuck, I wanted more of it. But
at least like Batman like showing up and being like, oh my god, like, I've seen that classic pose of him holding Jason Todd's.
Well, that's the cover of the Death of in the Family trade paperback. Is him holding the
ball. Yeah, so I figured something like that at least, but
yeah, and I mean it's kind of good we already know, right? So this is just us telling, it basically in our imaginations we get to imagine what it would be once you turn the page, kind of thing. Like he leaves this for the readers to imagine how fucked up it was. But yeah, you said you had never read Death in the Family or anything, right?
Nope.
So
that's why I asked how close this was to the original, because like I know that Jason Todd dies. Like I've heard that enough, and I've seen little, like I said, the cover and
Right.
snippets of things.
Well, for those of you who don't know, so the original Robin was Dick Grayson. Then he
like, "Screw you,
leaves
Bruce.
to become Nightwing.
I'm gonna do my own.
I want to put on a cool blue costume and become Nightwing. So he does that, and that was like in the either late 70s or early 80s, and then Batman gets a guy named he's like an older kid. I think he's like he's 15 or something like that, or 16. He's not like, because some of the, like, there was a Tim Drake Robin, and then that one's not in the Dark Knight universe, and then but that's a young one. He's like 8 or 9 or something like that, and
this Tim Drake becomes Red Hood, right?
No, I don't know. There's a bunch.
It seems like every
a lot
Robin,
of other.
like,
I think he becomes Red Robin or one of those. I don't know. There's a bunch of. This is all the stuff I didn't read when I was younger. This Robin was a older kid that Bruce kind of takes on, and so he wasn't as malleable because he was kind of older. He already had like a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
From what I remember, and I haven't read like this origin stuff. This is like what I gathered from just people talking about it, but he's kind of like a tough, like a street tough or whatever. So that's kind of where he's always kind of like been the wild child of the Robins, but basically everybody hated him, like all the fans, and this is amazing. They put at the end of Death of the Family or whatever, it was up to the readers if he lived or died. So they have the issue where Joker is like, like the last page is him with the crowbar, like starting to beat Robin. And then it says, to figure out, to vote if you want Robin to live or die, call 1-900,
Oh, wow.
They had a 1-900 number as a fan you would call and say die or live or whatever, or push a button or whatever the fuck it was to say who you wanted, if you wanted Jason to live or die. And all the fans voted, fuck that guy. We want him to die.
Wow.
It was like a large, I can't remember what the split was, but it was like, yeah, everybody just wanted him
That's
to die.
crazy. I didn't know that it was a fan decided.
Yeah, it was a fan decided death. And so yeah, that's how he died. So then that's like the big story arc is, I think the cover or whatever is Batman carrying Jason Todd's body. It was a big thing for Batman. But this made it seem like it's a big thing for Batman because he was hoping that Jason would kind of take over for him. I think being an older Robin, he's hoping, okay, if I can get him on the straight and narrow kind of more, and then get him like taught of how to fight and everything, he can take over for me and I won't have to be Batman anymore.
Didn't go so well.
Yeah, not so well for him. So yeah, that's like the main basic story. And in that, the Joker just beats him to death with a crowbar on his own. I can't remember I don't know what the main like lead up to that was, like what the Joker was doing before that or anything to get him there. So it might be closer to that. I don't know if it's close to this story. But in this one, his buddy or like the Joker boys are the ones who, fight him or whatever. Yeah. So what did you think about this one overall?
I liked it. We were talking about last time, like the last one apparently wasn't as well received, and I was reading up for the next couple, and this one apparently also people really didn't like, and I was like, this is a very straightforward story, and the art was really good. Like, why would you?
I think it was just because it is like a rehashing, we'll say, of that older storyline.
But now it's official.
But to me, it fit into the Frank Miller Dark Knight universe very well. I think people are just haters of Frank Miller now. I think it's cool to be a hater of Frank Miller.
It was good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, we had great art by John Romita Jr. There wasn't any weird stuff in it that I was like, that doesn't look good or anything. So always John Romita Jr. I mean, different character designs for sure. Like Joker had a different hair than normal and whatnot, but it's just John Romita's style. So, yeah. And then like the writing I thought was fine. It was precise. It was cool. I liked the inner dialogue of Batman kind of wanting Jason Todd to be better than he is, and
being old,
and he's old, and that's kind of what's pushing all this. And maybe that's the issue, is he couldn't take the time with Jason because he's so old, so he's kind of pushing him too fast to be something he's not ready to be yet or whatever. He hasn't got through his demons. But I like this a lot. I mean, it didn't necessarily have to be done, necessarily, but I think Frank Miller was this was a good way for him to test this new team. because this is the team that does the Master Race as well.
Oh, nice.
So, like, Brian Azzarello helped him write it, or maybe like wrote it more concisely or something, and then I'm not sure how close they work together. And then John Romita Jr. does the work on the main story. So, because the Master Race has a bunch of one shots that actually has Frank Miller work too, where he like drew issues of it, and then there's some other people did some other issues too. So, but this one was like, I think they're like test run. Like, let's see if we like each other and how well it does. So it obviously sold well enough to make Master Race happen.
Yeah.
So I think people are just, it's not cool to like Frank Miller anymore. So we're just going to hate on Frank Miller. But I thought this was a perfect story. I kind of wanted to continue longer. But yeah, with that being said, what would you give it, John?
I mean, it was a fun, easy story. It fits the narrative. And like you said, the art was great. So
yep.
I'd probably say 6.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to give, let's see, you gave Dark Knight Strikes Again a 7, so I'm going to give this one a 7, I think. Because I enjoyed it. It did round out, it did feel like a Dark Knight story, which I liked a lot. Like, it did feel, I had the same feel that you want in that darker universe and everything. Especially since we're reading all of them right now. Like, I'm all fresh. So reading it in that context, I'm like, oh yeah, this fits fine. So it felt good. I'm going to give it a 7. Art was great. Next week, we're doing the Master Race.
Yeah. Which
should be a good one. That's like, I think it's a 9-issue kind of in-betweener series.
You said there's like...
Yeah, there's a couple one-shots scattered in, so I think altogether it's 10 or 11 issues long. So that one might be a bit of a longer episode, but we'll see. We might be able to talk through it because there's a lot in there, but a lot of it, like I said, the one-shots are kind of, I think they're just introducing people to some of the characters because the Atom's in it, Laura's in it. So there's characters that we saw in Dark Knight Strikes Again, but maybe they're just reintroducing them for the Master Race. So
we'll see how it goes. Maybe we could be like, in that one shot, it's about this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But either way, it'll be good. It'll be fun. I think we're all good.
Yeah. Hope you're enjoying and hope everybody's staying safe. And I guess we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Well, folks, hope you enjoyed that episode.
If you did and you'd like to follow us on social media, our Facebook is Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. And our Instagram is @Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word.
And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more recommendations to add to your weekly pull list.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.